You're now watching This AFC South Show, brought to you by Curtis Podcast Network, hosted by Curtis Brown, Blake Bellamy, Isaiah Michelle, and Jeff Steckel. Hello, everybody, and welcome to This AFC South Show number 79. For those who don't know, that's my number in high school. I'm the host of this here channel. My name is Curtis Brown, and this is Curtis Podcast Network. Joining me today on the show, Jeffrey Steckel, our Colts fan, Blake Bellamy, our Titans fan, and Isaiah Michelle, our Jags fan, could not be here this evening. He's got work obligations in the morning and has to go to sleep at a good time. No problems with that. But let's get into this woeful week in the AFC South, where prior to this Colts game, as we speak, the Colts have the most points scored out of all four teams in the AFC South at 19. So if that doesn't tell you how bad of a week it's been, folks, buckle up. Quick shout outs and housekeeping. Shout out to Arcade Dreamer for the use of the background music that we use here. It's Dangerous from his debut album Born in the Midnight, available anywhere music can be listened to. We are at 129 subscribers now, so we're only 131 away from, 831 away from the goal, and that's pretty dope. So let's keep those numbers up. These are rookie numbers. And hit the like button, because we're still doing the 22 like goal for every episode. So until we get it, until we hit the goal, that's the new goal. Every episode, 22. That's 20, and then an additional 2. So if you see the number lower than that, just hit the thing. Just drop the. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, just come on and hit the comment section, people. Jesus, we're gonna talk about your teams, all right? Leading off this afternoon, let's talk about the Texans and the Browns game. In a revenge game of sorts for Deshaun Watson, he did not actually, revenge is probably a weird word to use for it, but he didn't do very good. It was a bad game for him, just kind of all the way around. The rust was very, very present. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up his stats so I don't misspeak here.
Deshaun's?
Yeah. So it's
12
for 20, 12 for 22, 131, no touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked once, a QBR of 28.6, and a rating of 53.4. And he also ran 7 times for 21 yards, including, I guess, that also is kind of skewed by the kneels, but this offense was not able to do a whole lot of anything. They actually mustered on their own 6 points. That's 2 field goal drives. The defense for Houston actually showed up and was ready to play. The special teams and the offense, however, is where this all went awry. If it were not for the special teams, you're just kind of allowing, what was his name? Donovan Peoples-Jones to just break every human tackle on the field and score. We're winning this game going into halftime, probably 5-0. Yeah. We got a safety early on because of some pretty solid punting. And we tackled Nick Chubb in the end zone. Actually stood up to him pretty well all game. 17 carries for 80 yards is not, it's not terrible, but for the Texans defense, that's a marked improvement. That's, down 1.5 yards per carry. And then, Kareem Hunt had a pretty solid day, 9 carries, 56 yards. So 6.2 a clip there. But, they really couldn't do a whole lot on offense. They really couldn't run the ball until they really had to late in the game. But Kyle Allen is trash. This offensive line is not built for coming from behind. Dameon Pierce is the franchise running back that we were hoping for. He continued a pretty impressive season today. What was it? 18 for 73. And then he added another 3 catches and 22 yards. So close to 100 scrimmage yards for the young man. And I like the way he does his thing. You know what I mean? But it's the quarterback position that's holding back the entire offense. And it's the interior blocking. Scott Quesenberry is not it. Kenyon Green is a run blocker, and that's basically all he's got in his arsenal. And then AJ Cann needs to probably just retire. You know, just retire. Get out of the league, please. It's frustrating being a Texans fan. I met the only Browns fan that lives in the Nashville area. And he came into my pub today and was like, "Can you guys put the game on?" And I was like, "Already on, brother." And it's over here. Go sit down. And we chatted or whatever, and the entire time he's progressively getting more drunk. So as the defense and the special teams are starting to do their thing, and the Texans are falling further and further and behind, he starts getting louder, and I was like, "All right, I need to not be around this guy right now." And he also needs to leave. But it's weird seeing Browns fans in the wild.
I've met a few.
They're out there, but it's weird. I'm telling you. But God, it's draft season, baby, in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been nice to get this one over on Deshaun Watson, and a game where he didn't come out and play well. A game where the Texans defense was able to do things against him and confuse him, and he just made shitty throws all game. In all likelihood, we played the best possible defense that we could have, and Kyle Allen basically single-handedly with 2 picks and a very critical fumble is responsible for 14 points on the board. Now, we ended up with 14 points, and if you take those 14 points off the board, those 2 touchdowns off the board, we're winning that game 14-13. This is it. Just I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated like a 17-year-old incel. It's just bad. Okay, I cannot wait until the off season. And speaking of which, we actually have some cool off-season plans coming your way, including each individual team will have their own individual podcast throughout the week. Short little thing, digestible. But with that, I'll open it up to you guys. Texans reactions.
Yeah, I don't think, like you said, it's draft season, so it's really hard to say much about Houston right now. I will say this, though. Jalen Petrie is what we thought Jalen Petrie was going to be. That dude is a beast. Like, he is amazing. And like you said, your franchise running back is found, man. You guys got him and Dameon Pierce. So I do like that you guys have 2 really foundational pieces on offense and defense. And that's going to lay the framework for the draft going forward. Now you can find yourself a good quarterback, get you a couple pass catchers in the offseason, kind of like Jacksonville Christian Kirk. Get a playmaker out there, throw him the football, develop a rapport with whichever young quarterback you get. Yeah, it's really just draft season. I didn't watch this game. I watched the highlights for this. Petrie impressed me a lot. Like you said, Kyle Allen's bad, and it's hard to assess anything on his offense with him at quarterback. But I do like I like Petrie a lot. He's showing why he's really was a really highly favored guy coming out of the draft. And then Cooks is cooked. He's not. Had he even played today? I didn't see him out there.
No, he didn't play.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't want to be there. So yeah, just Dameon Pierce, such a bright spot. And even then, they didn't really feed him the ball a whole lot today. He didn't really do a whole lot. He got what, 4 yards per carry on 60 yards. So
he had 73.
73, yeah, that's modest, but we know what he can do. So I'm not worried about today's performance by him.
Right.
So you guys got some bright spots going forward, and I think you guys will be better next year than you are this year.
Yeah, I think the bar for that is extremely low. So, yeah. I mean, if we come out and start 2-0 next year, we're in another stratosphere. Basically, I think they would throw a parade. Jeff?
Yeah, they. I think this is back-to-back years now. They're the first team to be eliminated from the playoff contention.
Congrats. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's
First.
Takes some effort.
You're number one. No, you pretty much hit everything. I don't like you said. They should probably just throw Mills back out there.
Why wouldn't you?
At this point, why not? Like, okay, but it like.
See what you got.
What if he comes in and wins like the rest of the games?
I mean, they might have like you said, they might have actually won or at least had a better chance of winning if he plays. It's just
that's what probably they're afraid of. But still, I think I'd want to know. Like, I know Mills probably isn't that guy, but I want to officially know. Let's play with him for the rest of the year. Let's just see.
I mean, I think we know already that he definitely is not the guy. Yeah. You make that decision when you bench him and don't let him play out the whole year.
I know that just blows my mind. I'm just shocked they did that. I wouldn't have.
Man, but... I mean, he did have a pretty like regularly terrible game.
But Kyle Allen.
I know Kyle Allen. I'm just saying. I think people needed to see Kyle Allen to really appreciate Davis Mills.
Yeah, like
it's like the guy who leaves his wife for like a 4, comes back and after like they've been in fights or whatever and realizes his ex was a 7.
Yeah.
Fuck. I had it nice. It's not always greener.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Grass isn't always green.
But I know Texans fans are going to want to fire Lovie Smith, and they blame Lovie Smith for a lot of the team's failings. And again, I need any Texans fan that hears this to understand this. He's been in the building a total of 2 years. The first year he was here, he wasn't the boss. He couldn't make any calls about what players were added or cut from the roster beyond the position, beyond the defense. He has literally not had much input on this team until he was a head coach. If you're going to fire somebody from being a head coach year 1, and he's only had 1 year to put together a team, and teams take multiple years to build, why fire him? Lovie Smith, his whole issue in Tampa was that they didn't keep him longer. Like, he wasn't initially great in Chicago. It took him some time to find pieces, and when he did, they were pretty good. They could win in spite of having Rex Grossman at quarterback. And then, whatever from there. But, this is a guy who went to the Super Bowl. He knows what it takes to get there. He's been to these mountaintops. That's why he was hired. Let the man do his job. You don't need to fire Lovie Smith. Fire Pep Hamilton for sure. And George Warhop, the offensive line coach. And AJ Cam. But anyway, let's move on to the Jags and the Lions. And before we get too heavy into that one, can somebody pull up Isaiah's comments in the text thread?
Okay.
So the Jags got absolutely dismantled today, 40-14. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence got hurt early in this game. Let's see the box score. Oh, no, not early. Okay, he threw 31 passes. Yeah. Okay, no, I just assumed he got hurt early. Yeah, it looks like the Jags just kind of got on their own way today. Christian Kirk, 6 for 104. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, Evan Ingram with a touchdown.
Say again?
I said, yeah, and Ingram with a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. ETN lost a fumble. God dang.
Yeah, that was like one of the first touches of the game, too. He immediately led.
Aloha Kuhn led the Jags defense with 15 tackles today. That's pretty solid. Damn. But then we look at the Lions, and Jared Goff, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked twice, QBR of 78.9, 115.9 rating. DeAndre Swift scored a touchdown on the ground. Jamal Williams scored a touchdown on the ground. Swift with an average of 4.4 a carry. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 touchdowns in the air, 11 receptions, 114 yards on 12 targets. I don't know who was covering that young man, but they were not covering him very well. And then Shark, 5 for 98 against his old team. Swift had 49 out of the backfield. I mean, honestly, it just kind of looks like the Jags just got fundamentally outplayed here. I mean, I'm trying to look at time of possession. The Lions had 36 minutes of time of possession to the Jags 23. I mean, they barely had the ball. 266 total yards, 437 for the Lions. This is a Jags team that we were trying to hype up after beating these Ravens. As, if the Titans fall, maybe there's an opening for them to come up in and, try to fill in this second place void. But I don't think that's happening. I think that it's still a young core. Trevor Lawrence is, now hurt. Hopefully it's not long term. I haven't heard anything yet. But, hopefully they can keep building. And, it's not necessarily impossible. I mean, the Titans have lost 2 or 3 in a row or something, right? 2 in a row? 2 in a row. It's definitely not.
And they got Jacksonville next. So we'll break that streak.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I wish Isaiah was here to clap back at that or something. But, Jeff, you got anything about this Jags game?
Yeah. Well, I kind of anticipated this might be a really fun game to watch. I think I said that in the preview show, and I felt it might even have the makings of being a shootout, and it was for one team.
Yes.
That's one thing about Trevor Lawrence. Like I know Isaiah's high up on him. I think he even called him a tough son of a bitch, and I don't think anyone can deny that. But I think what we've been so hard on him for is his consistency or lack thereof. And I mean, the Jaguars' defense was terrible today, but it was again kind of taking over a game and just owning it. And it seemed like this was another game where that didn't happen. So it's just, they go to the Ravens game and he took over it, won the game on the last, close to the last drive. And it just didn't happen here. I mean, they put up 14 total points. They put up 6 in the first half. It's just,
yeah,
they were just beat, all day. So it's just seeing that where Trevor Lawrence takes over. It just didn't happen today.
Yeah,
it's just that consistency I think that we've been hyping up on.
Now, if Isaiah was here, I think he would respond with saying that the O-line was not giving T-Law or really ETN any room to do anything. In fact, he would say that and the defense were absolute dog shit. So
it's not that much better though.
I mean, yeah, but it doesn't really matter. Blake?
Yeah, it is Jaguars hate week, so I'm gonna be a little hard on Jacksonville today. No, but seriously, yeah, they didn't look very good today. That defense was kind of trash. From what I saw, I actually watched a pretty decent amount of that game. I watched the game Buffalo Wild Wings, and they had the Titans game, of course, and the Lions Jags game was right next to it. So I got to watch a pretty decent amount of it clips wise. And Trevor Lawrence, he just kept seeming off. The whole offense really just couldn't get a spark going. I did like Christian Kirk. He's really, I was wrong about him, man. He really has been very, very good on this team this year. And I'm happy to see that because they put a lot of money in. He faced a lot of scrutiny. It's not his fault that they overpaid him. And I feel like it was a lot of unfair hate toward his way. But it was nice seeing him, be very consistent for that team. One thing that I was pretty right on, and so were you, Curtis, is one of my favorite picks in the draft was Chad Muma, and he had his best game as a pro today. So it was nice seeing him out there.
Yeah. 1.5 sacks today.
Yeah, he looked really good. I saw him going out there. A few of his clips, I was like, man, he was all over the field. So that was kind of cool to see that. So that's a good bright spot for this Jacksonville team. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence he's just not that guy. I'm sorry. Still, I'm not convinced. That last game, I know I missed the last podcast, and I did tell Isaiah separately that, that was his best game as a pro. Trevor Lawrence was, and he followed it up. He had a good chance to follow it up with something good, but he just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, and this is a Lions team that is not a solid
Terrible
defense.
defense.
Terrible defense. Don't know what
The
they did
worst
to really
league.
confuse this man, but good God, how? The Lions literally like wake up in the morning and they are already allowing 30 points.
Yeah, they're so bad on defense, and this really was a chance for Trevor Lawrence to carve him up, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah. Maybe next week.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. But with the way the Titans played, and that's a good way to segue into that. With the way the Titans played today, it doesn't look like they're really that much of a threat. At least when they play elite or like top level talent in the NFL. AJ Brown's revenge game was, of course, very revengeful. 2 touchdowns, 95 yards, 5 catches for the young man. And
Yeah,
I'm sure that Instagram is already lighting up.
Yeah, he said in a press conference that he's glad that he said this game was very personal to him, and he has a lot of hard feelings against the Titans. He wanted them to regret trading him with this game, and of course that's true. And his celebration on a touchdown that got called back was him whipping the goalpost like a towel, and whipped him a whole bunch of times, and then hugged it. And his message was, I had to beat you down and give you a whooping, but I still love you. And I think that was well deserved. I mean, I think everyone knew that Philadelphia was going to win this game. I think everyone knew that AJ Brown was going to be fed, and he did. He did everything with his touches, and he balled out, man. It was nice. It was it was nice seeing AJ, just the whole storyline, because it felt like some WWE stuff. But it is what it is. Like, I knew this was going to be a loss. This 10-1 team has a very good chance going to the Super Bowl. So yeah, it's a tough loss, and we had 2 big losses in a row against very good teams. So it is what it is. The offense is just god awful.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games where you need either Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry to step up, and Derrick Henry tried his damnedest. I'll give him that, but I don't think the blocking was there for him. And Tannehill doesn't really, like, after Traylon Burks had that 25-yard reception for a touchdown. I mean, he's the guy. He's the field stretcher. Robert Woods is, coming off an ACL. He's finally getting his legs back under him. So, like, he's starting to be able to move like he used to. But at this point, he's not a true number one. The way the offense is running, it's Burks is the number one.
And Burks is dang good. It's just, he hasn't been on the field a whole lot, and we just haven't been throwing the football, which is, again, that's on Todd Downing, because he just does not like throwing the football. And then, he went out after that first catch, and it was a beautiful touchdown. I cannot believe he held on to that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they don't lose him for an extended period of time. And like you said, Robert Woods, I mean, he's all right. He is what he is. He's always been a great number 2 or 3. It's hard for him to be number 1 in any kind of offense, let alone this, porous passing offense. 32nd in the NFL passing yards, and
the Texans exist in that league.
I know. You guys have it good over in Houston, man.
Sure. What? Just because we always throw for over 200 yards?
I know. It's porous. Yeah, and then they really just need to put Okonkwo at slot, because every time he catches the football, it goes for 30 yards. It's unbelievable. That man's got some wheels on him, so he's a huge bright spot. They just need to keep feeding him the ball. He had like 4 catches, I think 70 yards. So. Just let him go. Derrick Henry, I mean, it's hard to fault him. This is his first time he's ever had back-to-back games with under 50 yards rushing. And I thought it was a kind of incredible stat right there. But yeah, he's looked rough the last 2 weeks, but it's really not his fault. Every time he gets the football, there's 2 guys in the back throwing over Brewer or Daly, because they have no business being in the NFL, let alone starters. Defense, I mean, they're all right. They're just AJ Brown and Devontae Smith expose them for their lack of speed. There's no burners on this secondary. Caleb Farley's the only one that's athletic, but he's not good at football, which is unfortunate. And then, the Titans corners are good. They just have no speedsters out there, and they just need to get something going. And they're also tiny. They're all under 6 foot, and that's not a quality that you want in the NFL. I will say though, the best player in the NFL is on the Titans, and that is Ryan Stonehouse. That man kicked 401 yards today, averaging 57 yards per punt.
Damn.
Stonehouse is the best player in the NFL. He should get the MVP, and he's leading all punters in Pro Bowl votes. Just saying, and I haven't even voted for him yet.
Nice.
But
I
yeah,
mean, Stonehouse is booting the fuck out of it. That's true.
yeah, he's the best player on this Titans team. Like it's incredible. If we had a draft, I'm taking him like early rounds.
First overall pick.
I wouldn't take him first overall. I'd probably get him in the second round though.
Fuck with that.
That's how much I value Stonehouse. Is if you're on the Titans team, and you have to have a great punter.
Yeah.
Prereq.
Jeff, you got a reaction?
Yeah, I'll start with. I mean, Tannehill was efficient, but not. He obviously didn't have any kind of monster game or anything.
Yeah, he got sacked 6 times. He was running for his life out there.
But I was having a miserable day in fantasy, and
Me too.
yeah, I had Derrick Henry, and he only gave me like 4.5 points. So I was looking, and I lost Lamar Jackson too. So anyway, I was looking at Derrick Henry, and I was looking at his games, and I'm like, well, he only had 11 carries today, and it got me thinking, and I'm like, okay, Derrick Henry had one game this season where he rushed for had more than 20 rush attempts, and they lost. And that was week 1 against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, they've had one game where he rushed less than 20 and win. And that was against the shitty Denver Broncos, where he rushed 19 times. So the whole, other than that, every time he's hit that 20 mark, they've won, except one game. Moral of the story is run the damn ball.
Yep. Run the damn ball.
Run the damn ball.
The damn ball.
He's the type where with volume, you beat down a defense, and then you just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do that, they're going to keep coming after you. They're going to keep coming after Tannehill. And the thing about Henry is, and like Jonathan Taylor, and there are some backs where it doesn't really matter what the score is, because at any point they can break it.
Yep.
And he can stiff you. Henry can stiff arm you into tomorrow at any point.
Yes.
So he's a threat to break a home run. It's just, especially up until he should have had that many carries in the first half.
Yeah, 11 carries, and I don't even think he touched the ball in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
it was all done for Hilliard. And Julius Chestnut. Who's Julius Chestnut?
That's the guy who kept fumbling in the preseason.
I know who he is. Why would you play him over Derrick Henry? Or let alone Dontrell Hilliard?
Look, they took Ryan Tannehill out of the game because he was getting hurt. This man out here getting sacked 6 times.
They're making business moves. They didn't even try to win this football game, and it was embarrassing. It was hard to watch them today. It really was.
Even if they're bottling up Henry and there's nothing going on, it's like, have him out on a screen, do a wheel route, do something.
Get creative, do something.
And get him in space just a little bit. And again, he can stiff arm you into an oblivion. Just get him out in some space where he only has a corner or a safety to beat.
Nobody wants to go one-on-one with Derrick Henry.
Exactly.
Set him up.
The run isn't working. It's like every time I see it, it's like run middle. Do something.
Halfback dive. Minus 2 yards. It's crazy.
Guard trap.
Yeah, it's incredible. If I was a defensive coordinator, I would circle the Titans every time I play them. I'd be so happy to play the Titans because they're going to do every play. And then they give up. They don't play third down. They just either incomplete pass, a sack, or they'll just screen it to Hilliard for minus 2 yards and then punt it and let Stonehouse cook. So it's crazy. They don't play third down. They did go for it on fourth down, which I love that aggressive call, and they did end up getting a touchdown out of that. We need more of that, and we need more play calling in the Green Bay game. If you have to give Todd Downing, a whiskey and Sprite every time he goes out there, give it to him. Let him drink. Let him call a game.
Whiskey and Sprite.
I feel like he doesn't do well with caffeine. He just seems like someone gets the jitters.
He probably does.
I bet he got cut off from coffee, and that's why he needs a whiskey Sprite, no caffeine, go to sleep after he drinks.
All right. Well, that leads us to the final game of the AFC South docket. And as I'm looking at it, Jeff, you're a little bit further ahead of me. As I'm looking at it, the game is it's in the fourth quarter. There's
Yep.
9 minutes left.
Yep.
And I have 9-11 specifically. And the Dallas Cowboys have 40 points on the scoreboard, and the Indianapolis Colts still at the 19 mark that I mentioned earlier. This kind of got out of hand quick, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Tony Pollard starting, so.
Yeah, he's yeah,
Attaboy.
shut up.
Memphis
Yeah,
product right there.
So up until half, I think the Colts came out looking really good. Like that first quarter, they looked great. Offensively, defensively, they were doing everything right. And I was saying in the first quarter, where has this team been all year? And I'm like, oh, it's the fourth quarter. So that's where I know them. It was a 21-19 game going into the fourth quarter. And it's 40-19.
That's crazy. Colts just you never know. They're a very different team from the first half to second half. Like last week, they did so well in the second half, and then this second half, this game just falling off.
Yeah, So, they were stretching the field. Jonathan Taylor was running the ball really well, and they even had a big play to Pierce, which I was happy to see. I think it was like a 45-yard pass. So I was stoked, and I'm like, I didn't think that they were going to win this game. But after that first quarter, I was like, man, at least they can keep it close.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, 3 picks. God.
Yeah, one of them was tipped, and that they were driving, and the receiver had his hands on it, tipped it up, and they picked it. So they could have gone up, they could have been up 2 or 3, if not, if they kicked a field goal or whatever, they could have been leading at halftime. And then they came out in the third quarter, put up another 6. So it's like, okay, because they didn't get the 2-point conversion to tie it. But, Matt Ryan, yard-wise, is doing okay. He has 2 touchdowns, but 3 picks. And what's really pissing me off is Mo Alley Cox got a catch, first down, and then coughed it up on a fumble. It's like, why is he out there and not Jelani Wood?
Yeah.
So
they had a really
good one catch for 27 yards.
Yeah. I don't understand why Jelani Wood is not a tight end one every single game.
Every game, he's 95% of the plays. It's so
maybe he just can't block.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't care.
I mean, it kind of does. You gotta be able to block. If you can't block,
you can block a little bit. Like he doesn't have to be a world class blocker. His pass catching ability should overshadow any blocking deficiencies.
But even in that first half, it's like I saw something the Colts don't really do is create turnovers. Gilmore had a pick, and I'm looking at it. I haven't been able to watch it because I was dropping my kid off, but they have 1 sack and it's Quiddy pay.
Yeah,
it's like so there hasn't been a whole lot of pressure. It's nice to see him back. It's nice to see him get in the sack column again. He's been out the last several games, so it's good to see him back. It's good to see Gilmore get a pick. There was a lot of good things to talk about from the first half that are now just the wheels fell off, and it's like I can't even really compliment it. And it's like the Texans, pretty much the Colts realistically to have a shot at the playoffs had to win out, and if they beat the Cowboys, there was no telling. They could have gone on a run, but now it's like they are what they are. They're the team that they were week 1 against the Texans. It's just they cannot put a game together.
Well, if this drive continues, they're going to be trying to rival the Jags for the largest margin of defeat.
But they scored the most points. So.
Yep.
But again, it's like the Colts.
Victories.
I think the Colts have I think it's 2 or 3 games where they've scored 20 or more points. And it's like it doesn't even look like they're going to do it here.
Yep.
Up there, they got a touchdown. Yeah. Let me see how many sacks they've got. I lost count.
Zeke got that one, man.
Dang, Bland has 2 interceptions. 1, 2. They only have two sacks, but it's like they've created so much pressure that I saw in the first half. There was some where Ryan was running for his life, and he didn't even need to be. Like it was just those ghost pass rush that he hasn't been comfortable all season.
No.
It's showing. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy who basically didn't even get told by his team that they didn't, like by the Falcons, that they didn't want him anymore. He heard that they were trying to get Deshaun Watson, and that's the whole reason he left. He's basically like, I don't know, somebody who didn't want to get divorced but is divorced. Like, I didn't want to be
He just
here.
got the papers and
Yeah, here we are.
yeah.
All right. So
as of now, it's 47-19. So that's good.
Hey, that means that the Texans allowed the fewest points.
Yeah.
Even with oh God, this division.
We suck, man.
0-4 this week. Rough. All right. Last couple minutes here. I need some MVP picks. Mine's Dameon Pierce. He's like the lone bright spot right now.
Ryan Stonehouse, clear choice.
Good choice. I'm going to say Alec Pierce just because he has a touchdown and he got that long pass.
His annual long pass per game.
Yeah.
Over 20 yards. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If Isaiah were here, I bet he would say Christian
Chad
Kirk.
Muma.
Probably,
Oh, Christian.
Christian Kirk probably. But Chad Muma would be a good one too. So how do I even decide this? Because nobody's winning. So like I'm gonna flip a coin. I'm gonna flip a coin off screen, and it'll be popping up right now. People are like, "Why is he not talking about the stats?" It's because he's not. Yeah. Anyway, so that's our week 13 MVP of the AFC South. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on, and it's always a pleasure to have you guys on. It's always a pleasure to have you guys watching. Again, hit the like and subscribe button. Trying to get to 1,000. We need 831. So hit the button, hit the notifications, share with your friends, and guess what? We coming back. So
the Colts aren't coming back, but we are.
Yeah, we're coming back. The division is, that's where it is. Okay, all right, we're not even gonna. It's just rough. But all right, guys, be good people.